Welcome my dear students of class 8A and 8B to my history class. Today's topic I have written in the board. Please look at it. Introduction of Modern Education, chapter number 10. Points: Charter Act of 1813, Charter Act of 1833, the introduction of Western education in India, Orientalist and Anglicist controversy, Lord Macaulay's minute. Now first point, Charter Act of 1830. Charter Act of 1830. The Charter Act of 1830 sanctioned a grant of 1 lakh rupees for the spread of education in India. But there were difference of opinion about the system of learning. There were differences of opinion about the system of education to be important. The Charter Act of 1833 sanctioned a grant of 10 lakh rupees for the spread of education in India. The British felt that they needed a system of curriculum, but the British were undecided on whether to continue with the existing system of education or to introduce modern education, throughout India. As English medium of instruction. But many enlightened Indians also were there. They came forward to support the British policy of education. In a sense, they favored English education to be introduced with English as the medium of instruction. That's why they favored the decision of the British. The next point, introduction of Western education in India. You know, British in the year 1844 introduced their education policy with English as the medium of instruction. They also announced that Indian people educated with English as medium of instruction would be given jobs in the administration. It encouraged many Indians. That's why they decided to receive Western education. But initially the company was reluctant to interfere in the social customs, social traditions, social life of the Indians, as their main concern was trade. But with the increase in political stability, political power in India, their levels of involvement grew deeper. And ultimately what happened, when the British was still a trading concern, a few schools were opened in Madras, Bombay and Bengal to impart Western education to the children of the Indian employees of the company. The company officials used these Indians as interpreters when dealing with local population. The class of Indian interpreters began to gain great favors with the British. Thus, the benefit of knowing English soon became apparent to the Indians. As a result, now they agreed to receive the knowledge of English, because many of them had become interpreters and some of them joined the British, British jobs, and then more or less they became solvent, prosperous, financially very strong. That's why rest of them who had no interest to receive Western education, now they agreed to be educated with English as the main medium of instruction. And another thing is that while the Orientalists, favored the traditional system of education or traditional system of learning, the Anglicists favored Western education to be introduced in schools and colleges. And many enlightened Indians like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, a brilliant Bengali scholar and thinker, were convinced that India would progress only with Western learning and Western education. William Bentinck, the Governor General of India, and his advisor Lord Macaulay shared Raja Ram Mohan Roy's views. Raja Ram Mohan Roy tried to make Indian people understand with persuasive arguments that receiving Western education would be good for them. The setting up of the Hindu College in the year 1817 was an important step towards the modern system of education in India. This Hindu College, Presidency as it came to be known now, became a center of Western education, center of traditional system education also. Means they followed a system of education where Western education also was important as well as traditional. But basically, they gave importance to the knowledge of English and introduced the system of education with English as the medium of instruction. That's why those who graduated from Hindu College, they would become a complete student. They would become complete students. And with their knowledge, they could teach easily anyone else and would make them good students in future, good students for future. In the year 1835, Lord Macaulay, the assistant of Governor General Lord William Bentinck, declared in his famous minutes that education should be given to the Indians with English as the medium of instruction, and the great object of the British government ought to be the promotion of European literature and science in India. He also said a single shelf of a good European policy, good European library was owed the whole native literature of India and Arabia, unquote. So following this system, Western education was part and parcel for the Indian people. Lord Macaulay felt that introduction of Western education for the Indian people would give them a life of complete knowledge. The government declared that Indians who knew English would be given preference in government jobs, government employment. So this matter further popularized Western education in India. And next point, Orientalists and Anglicists. You know, the Orientalists favored traditional system of learning, as I mentioned earlier, and Anglicists favor only English as the medium of instruction in schools and colleges. Raja Ram Mohan Roy came forward for the spread of modern education in India. He encouraged millions of people of India, and Lord William Bentinck, the Governor General of India, and his assistant Lord Macaulay also took initiative, and for that reason a college in Kolkata, College Street locality, was set up in the year 1870 named Hindu College. It was a very important step towards this end. And ultimately what happened? Many people, many parents allowed their children to be admitted into that very college as a student, and ultimately that very college, Hindu College, had become a great center of learning during that time. You know, the government took several policies for the spread of education, not only, but for making Indians cultural, well-mannered. They taught them how to be a good student. They taught them as to how they would become well-behaved boys, well-behaved, students, and would behave, and how they should behave with their teachers, how they should behave with their parents. Each and every part of teaching was given to them by the teacher. The class of Indian interpreters also began to gain great favors with the British. Thus, the benefit of knowing English language soon became apparent to the Indians. Apart from this, Lord Macaulay's Minute brought some changes in thinking the concepts of the two groups, Orientalists and Anglicists. Lord Macaulay tried his level best to bring a reconciliation between these two groups. Setting up of a new college, the Hindu College, was a great example for it. It was due to an effort of Lord William Bentinck, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Lord Macaulay, David Hare, and some Indian personalities, enlightened people. The Hindu College was established in the year 1870 with a view to provide English education as the medium of instruction. It gave birth of newly English learning students, English learning people who later were appointed in the British administration as officials. It helped them a lot. The British also were able to establish their influence in India in the field of not only administration, in the field of education, in the field of culture, in the field of modern outlook. The British recognized themselves to be one of the most important races of the world. Up to this, my dear students, next day, the remaining part. Thank you.